Welcome to the webinar tonight, everybody. My name is Sam Petro, and I'm going to be the technical producer for us. And just a couple of things before we get started. You guys are all muted, but we will have the opportunity tonight for you to ask questions. The way for you to be able to do that is going to be to type them in on the questions pane, which is near the bottom of your dashboard, which should be open on the right side of your screen. So we'll filter them as we go. I know Rick and Emily are going to save some time for them, and we'll get all of your questions answered before we leave tonight. The other thing is, if you want to just be able to see the slides a little bit better, you can minimize the screen by hitting that orange arrow at the top of the control panel. Should you have to step away from the webinar, please don't exit out of it, because you're going to have to go back through all that login screen to get back in. So just step away if you need to. We certainly understand that things come up, dogs bark, kids cry. And without that, I'll turn it over to Emily and Rick, who are going to present on traveling on a budget.
Hi everyone, I'm Emily Barclay. I'm here with my husband Rick.
Hello.
And we're really excited to be here with all of you tonight, talking a little bit about some of our travel tips and tricks and how we managed to do it all without breaking the bank. Just a friendly reminder to our technical team to make sure we're recording. This is me and Rick. I am ironically wearing this shirt at this time. That was not planned. But this is us, and just a little bit about the two of us. We live in Los Angeles, California, in the South Bay in Torrance. We're both teachers, which makes the traveling part easier than normal. And I think that's about it as far as a little bit about us. Our disclaimer this evening: information presented in this webinar is intended for educational purposes only. It is not intended to provide financial or credit advice. Everything that we're going to be talking about tonight is from our point of view and our personal experience. I just want to make sure that's clear for everyone who's participating.
So this is our patio set. This is kind of, we always start with this image because this is where the story starts. This is our backyard, and when we purchased our home in 2012 here, the first thing we wanted was a patio set for our backyard. It's just something I think we both wanted in our life, and those are expensive. So I was randomly blogging, just checking out different, financial advice blogs, and came across a website where discussed the idea that you can use credit card points for Amazon gift cards. Well, I was immediately hooked, and then I just thought, okay, let's investigate this. Let's figure out how I can earn these points, because I can get a lot of money towards this patio set. And I found that you can sign up for credit cards, and they'll give you sign-up bonuses, and I'd use those points for Amazon gift cards. Well, we ended up then purchasing this set. It came out to, I think, around like $150 that we had to spend after we earned a bunch of gift cards through the credit card sign-up bonuses, and we had what we called our dream backyard without breaking the bank. But that has nothing to do with travel, but that's where it started, learning that credit card points can be used towards virtually almost anything that you want to do. And it started with this, and then we moved into figuring out we can also do it for travel.
So Rick, ever the financially savvy consumer, realized that we could get a lot more bang for our buck if we turn some of those credit card points into miles and travel-related points and things. And so we have done a whole lot of traveling. Some of you have joined us before, and so we always like to give a quick recap of where we've been in the past year. There's a few pictures up on the screen, but just as a quick list. Since we saw you last year, right around this time in October, we visited Bali, India, Ethiopia, New York City, Portland, Houston. We went on a road trip through SlowCal, we call it here. We've been to Greece, Spain, Morocco, England, Wales, and Denmark. We have a lot of things booked and on our calendar already, but I just wanted to share a little bit about all of the great trips we've been able to take since we saw you last. Tonight, we're going to talk a little bit about what we're doing. We have a quick sneak peek of the latest trip that we just went on. We'll talk a little bit about how we do it, some in-depth information about our favorite cards we're using, some steps that we use when we're planning. You guys gave us great feedback in your registration questions that you filled out, and so we've taken some of the input that you've given us and tried to better tailor our presentation for your needs. And we're really excited. We'll also include some travel tips and some question and answer at the end. So just this past weekend, we were in St. Louis, Missouri. I married a lifelong Cardinals fan, and we checked off a bucket list item and attended 2 games at Busch Stadium, the last 2 games of the regular season for the Cardinals. And so we had a great time seeing the sights of the city. We visited the Budweiser plant where they make all that beer. We went to the City Museum. We went up inside the Arch. It was a really, really great weekend that we were able to have.
So how, just by the numbers, how do we make this happen on a random weekend, and how do we do all this travel? Well, we gave you kind of a list here. On the left would be a projected cost, how much it should have cost an average consumer if they paid for everything outright, and then on the right would be the actual cost of how we made this trip happen. So we flew there on Southwest. We left Friday night. We came back very early Monday morning to go back to work. As you can see, it would have cost. Oh, Emily changed the screen, so I can't see. There we go.
Apologies.
It would have cost $643, a little bit above that, for 2 people to fly round trip from LAX to St. Louis. And then we stayed at the Hyatt because it was right next to the ballpark. It was right in downtown. And that runs for about $174 a night. Just your math wrong.
Oh.
So the math is a little incorrect right there. But
I'm the music teacher, not the math teacher. That's what I tell the kids all the time.
So you can see it would have been, just around $1,000 projected cost for the entire weekend. But we used Southwest points, so you can see it was 19,000 miles for 2 people round trip because I have the companion pass. We'll talk about that a little bit later. And then Hyatt, we used 8,000 Hyatt points per night to stay at the Hyatt. So really it came out to a total of $22.40 for both of us to visit St. Louis for the weekend, and we can use all of our money that we've earned and saved for fun adventures like going to Busch Stadium, going to the City Museum, and different places.
So tonight we'll be talking just briefly about some credit card stuff and how to be strategic with those. We will be pausing for questions, but at the end. So if you have things along the way that you are curious about, just in the moment, if you're thinking about it, go ahead and type it into the questions pane so that you don't forget, and then we can make sure to get to it later. But just know we are going to be stopping for questions. Don't worry.
So before we start, there is a card for that, and that's our motto. Credit card companies and different companies are really, really interested in getting you as a customer. So they're going to offer any kind of incentive to get you to sign up for that card. Probably when you go shopping at any kind of clothing store, right? Banana Republic for one, just screams out. Macy's. They want you to sign up for those cards. Hey, you get 10%, 20% off one-time purchase if you sign up for a credit card because they want your business. So here's the list. I mean, airlines, hotels, travel points, cruise lines, Disney tickets. The iPhone one I don't think is actually around anymore, but it used to be one where you sign up for an AT&T card through Citi and they'll give you the money for a brand new iPhone as long as you sign up for their card. Cashback gift cards, even investment funds. I have a card where it gives me 2% cash back and goes straight into my investment account, so you can continue to slowly grow that over time. But there is a card, and if you have a specific need, we can probably find a way to get you a card for that. Airline card specifically, though, because we're here for travel. Here's just a couple images of some examples of some cards. We have or have had these cards in the past. Whether it be, you want a partnership with United, American, Delta, Alaska. People have brand loyalty a lot of times, or specifically, as we'll talk about later, there's certain companies that only have certain flight routes. So maybe you want to go to a specific area, well then maybe the Delta card's best for you and you want to get those miles because if you're going to fly to Atlanta, Delta has the best options. If you're going to fly to Chicago, United's going to have a lot of great options. But that's going to be the specifics because when we start planning trips to Europe or Asia, you're going to want to know where you want to go because a lot of times these companies have the best routes, and that's the card you're going to want to sign up for. The same idea with hotel credit cards, right? We've done a lot of stays with Hyatt, Hilton, Club Carlson, SPG. It's wherever you're going to go. If you have a specific hotel you want to stay at, start thinking about what you want and where you're going to stay, and then you can think about, oh, there's a card for that. Like I said, if you know you want the Hilton, we're going to go to Prague in the winter, and we know we want to stay at the Hilton, so we can get one of the many Hilton credit cards, sign up, get a bonus, and use points to stay at that specific hotel because that's where we wanted to go.
So instead of detailing specific offers for specific cards, we thought it would be helpful to kind of look at some of the cards that we're using and focusing on right now. So the first one I have is the Southwest Rapid Rewards card. The sign-up bonus right now is really great. We just had a friend who applied for it, and it's 60,000 miles after you spend $2,000 in the first 3 months. Rick, how much is 60,000 miles going to get you on Southwest?
I mean, we'll think about it. I mean, we just went to St. Louis. Both, you know, it's for 20,000.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen trips to Mexico for 11,000. So I mean, this sign-up bonus could easily get you so many. I think we've gone to New York for 22,000 before. So it's really a ton of points.
Yeah, and obviously the booking rates are based on where you're going and when. You get free bags on Southwest, which is awesome. The annual fee for this card is $99. So in the grand scheme of things, it's not breaking the bank to have a great card with a great sign-up bonus. So if you're going to be doing some of those domestic trips and Southwest can get you there, it's a really great one. In particular, the reason why we love Southwest is they offer the Companion Pass. If you achieve 110,000 miles in 1 calendar year, you get to fly a Companion for free. So you can see on here, I have earned the Companion Pass. So Rick is my companion, and he flies for free. So that's what he was talking about a little bit in the details for St. Louis. It's sort of like buy one, get one. You can't go wrong with a BOGO deal, right?
Yeah. You know, it says right here in this thing, earn 60,000 points. You sign up for the card, you're 60,000 points of the way to the 110,000. So you can see how close you are to getting it. I just had a friend, not again, they were comfortable doing this, it's up to you. They signed up for the 60,000 card, and they signed up for the 50,000 business card, because those are different credit cards. Personal and business accounts are separate. So by those 2 sign-up bonuses, they earned 110,000 Southwest points, which then automatically triggered their Companion Pass. So now they're going to have the Companion Pass for the next year and 3 months because they did the 2 sign-up bonuses. And that's up to you and your comfort level. We talked them through it, and they're doing it. But they have the Companion Pass, and now they're going to fly, just like us, buy one, get one free, which is the coolest deal ever.
Yeah, we've done a whole lot of trips we would not have otherwise done because we've been able to afford it because of that.
The next card we use quite frequently is you've probably seen these ads as they inundate you constantly with, you know, no blackout dates, whatever you could say, whatever Jennifer Garner, Alec Baldwin tell you. But this is the Capital One Venture Card. We love this card specifically because, well, you earn 40,000 points after you spend $3,000. And then you get 2 points on all purchases. You probably heard this. The annual fee is $59. The first year is free, but a little extra tip here. When the annual fee comes up every year, we give them a call and say, we're not comfortable paying a fee. We think we're going to cancel the card. And they're like, oh, no problem. We'll graciously waive this annual fee. So I don't think we've ever paid an annual fee on this credit card. We just call in and say that we're not happy with it, and they always waive it. So it's pretty nice. But this card's a little different. You earn 40,000 points. You're like, okay, what are these points and what do these ones mean? So the venture card, right? You earn points that can reimburse yourself for a variety of expenses. As you see, the whole list, I'm not going to read every one, but airlines, limos, anything to do travel related, you purchase that travel expense on this credit card. And now, since it's a travel expense, you can go in and give yourself the money back for any one of these things. So you can see, for example, if you want to rent a car someplace, it's $250 for a car rental. Well, that would be, you know, add 2 zeros here, you have 25,000 points. So really, when you think about it, 40,000 points in the venture is basically a free $400 towards anything travel related. You choose what you want to use it for. Any one of these things on this list can count. So if you want to book a really expensive cruise, put it on this card. Say you have 100,000 points on this card, you give yourself $1,000 back. That's just how it works, and that's how venture works. It's not an airline point. You don't buy through a specific airline. You just purchase whatever you want on this card and reimburse yourself later, which is why we love this card so much. So you can see, we're going to give you a little example of what our statement looks like after our recent summer trip. See how it says credit travel reward? Well, we have saved a lot of points over time with the venture card. And look, you can see, negative 97.25, negative 41.48. These are all expenses of our long Europe trip that I redeemed for myself. So at the top one, you can see 97.25. Again, move the decimal over 2 places, you see it's 9,725 points. Any one of these numbers right here. So just start, and this is a partial list of it right here, start adding up the savings that we had. Some of this is hotel, some of this is an Uber trip, some of this is car rental. It's just any random travel expenses, which also helps the budget very much.
Yeah, I particularly love that you can see there's car rental on here, lodging, other travel. Sometimes museum tickets show up in this stuff too, so it's really great.
Oh yeah.
All right, so you might be thinking to yourself like, oh, this is a lot of credit pulls. Credit cards are scary. Credit cards, I don't like. It's okay to feel nervous. So we just have a couple of the most common questions we're asked, and again, we're speaking from our personal experience with this process, signing up for multiple credit cards and using the bonuses. So will this impact my credit score?
Initially, yes. Because as you open more accounts, it will initially give you a small little ding, maybe 3 points, maybe 4 points. But over time, as long as you are a smart consumer and you paying off your credit cards on time and you show that you're a good customer, your score eventually normalizes and actually goes higher because you're showing a longer period of credit history and someone that can take care of their accounts. So we have applied for many of credit cards over our time, and our score has been doing nothing but going up, up, and up over time. So it will fluctuate. If you have a huge purchase coming up, maybe you're looking to buy a house or refinance something, yeah, maybe be a little careful with not opening up too many cards, but I can speak from experience. I don't mind divulging a little bit. We went through a massive refinance of our house and also just recently opened up a lot of credit cards, and everything went fine. There was no concerns at all. So
yeah. How many cards can I have?
That is up to your credit history, and that is up to how you kind of manage your money for now. But I know a lot of people on the online communities that have up to 30 credit cards. I know people that have 25. I think I personally had up to like 16 or 17 at one time. And that can fluctuate in terms of what bonuses you want, what you don't want, but you can have as little as many as kind of the credit bureau tells you, but you'd be surprised at how many you are actually allowed to have. It's pretty easy.
So how many can I apply for?
Typically, the general rule is I have done maybe like every couple of months we used to kind of like apply for like 3 or 4 cards at a time. And that's when we were very new into it. We haven't actually personally, we have not applied for cards in a very long time. We have decided to we amassed a lot of points. We accrued so many. We decided to take a break, kind of let everything settle a little bit and not have so many applications that were opened recently. But we used to sit down and like every 3 or 4 months, we'd think about a couple cards that we want to apply for, and we'd get approved immediately and get the sign-up bonuses, and it was simple as that.
Should you keep the card or should you cancel the card? And if you're going to cancel it, when is the best time to do that?
Well, obviously you don't want to pay those annual fees. So you got to track. This is up to you now, because when you open this many cards, you got to start tracking them as well. Sometimes you want to keep the card because it offers you specific bonuses. Say you fly United a lot, well, the card gives you free bags. So you maybe want to keep that card. But at the same time, call in. You never know what they're going to offer you. I just called into one of my credit cards a month and a half ago, and the annual fee was a lot. And I kind of told them, I was like, I don't really want to keep this card. The annual fee is a little bit above my budget. And they said, what can we do to keep you? They gave me a list of 6 different bonuses to keep me. And they gave me the whole list, like, which one do you want? We want to keep you as a customer. Well, I ended up on this card getting like 3 points per dollar when it's usually 1 point per dollar. So I decided to say, I'm going to spend a lot on this card. It's worth it to keep it. But sometimes they just say, we'll waive the annual fee. Keep the card, please. Keep using it. So that's kind of up to you. If you want to cancel the card, cancel it because you don't want to pay it. But if they waive it, you get to keep it for another year. Maybe keep your bonuses and keep your perks alive.
Is there a better time to cancel the card as to not impact my credit history?
I would not open a card, get the miles, and then call in immediately and cancel it, because that could show kind of suspicious behavior. And it's just, not that it's going to give a red flag, but I wouldn't say the banks are looking forward to that. So if you get the card, you want the bonus, and then you want to cancel it, I would wait. You know, if the annual fee shows up, that gives you the year notice, you can cancel it and they'll just refund the annual fee. It's not a big deal. So maybe wait 11, 12 months and then show up and then give them a call and see what they can do.
Awesome. So this is all great. but how do we actually use our points? We get a lot of questions all the time, like, okay, you do these credit card bonus signups, you have all these points, like, what do you actually do with them?
Well, for some of you that follow Emily on social media, you know that we just came back from Europe, but also did a little stint in Morocco right here. So to kind of show you how we paid for some things, and she even provided a video this year.
Sorry, just keeping everybody entertained.
Yeah. So this is just a little side note so everybody knows. This is us in the Sahara Desert. We did a little camel trip. One of our bucket list things was we want to see the real desert and the real dunes. So that's what you see right here. But we were in Spain. We flew to Marrakesh on Ryanair. It was only $128 for the both of us to get there one way to Morocco. Right here, it was $111 per person for this trip. So it was kind of a 3-day, 2-night trip. And then we booked 2 nights in a riad, which is a version of their hotels in Morocco. And it was $107 total for those 2 nights. So you add these little things up. We paid for every one of these with the Venture points. If you remember earlier, we showed you how we redeemed for travel. We just used my Venture points to pay for the $128.64 for the $111 per person and the $107 for the 2 nights in the riad. So really, our 5 days and actually it was 5 nights. Yeah, 5 nights and 6 days in Morocco was pretty much completely free by using the Venture points, and it kind of was an experience of a lifetime.
Yeah.
I could never replace.
It was absolutely amazing. Yeah. Highly recommend.
Now a sneak peek of where we're going to Thanksgiving, which is 6 weeks away.
Woo! Okay. Not that we're counting down.
Yes, 6 weeks. Thanksgiving's coming. We're going to go on a little bit of a different vacation for us. We usually go for adventures, and we move around quickly. We thought we would do something a little different and just kind of camp out in Fiji for a week. So
I mean, that's an adventure, but we don't usually stay in one place for 7 days.
So a little test run for us, see if we're ready to stay here. But anyways, we're flying from LAX to Fiji. If you look up an American at the time, or it's Fiji, Fiji Air, but it was $980 for a round trip ticket from LA to Fiji. Well, of course, is the point of this presentation is that we did not pay for this with money. So we both applied for Citi thank you cards, and you earn thank you points with Citi. Well, it turns out that a $980 flight using my Citi thank you points was only $67,000. So we each had 67,000 points. So we booked, and that's taxes, fees, everything included. So we are both flying to Fiji for completely free over Thanksgiving. And then you're going, okay, so we got there for free. Where are we staying? Well, this is an image of the brand new hotel that we were staying at. This is a Marriott resort. It just opened up a couple months ago. And we used our SPG points. If you remember from earlier, one of the hotel credit cards that was up there was the SPG program. Well, we had signed up for cards in the past. As I told you, we don't sign up anymore, but we had accrued many points. And we used 90,000 of our SPG points and transferred them to Marriott because they're a partner now. And we used 90,000 points to get 7 nights all paid at this resort. So the coolest thing is we say how we do this on a budget. We're flying using Citi thank you points. We're staying at the hotel using SPG points. And now whatever we want to do there, we can just use our savings.
We have a car rental that will, in theory, book on the Venture card because it's a travel expense. And so maybe we'll just be out the cost of food. You can't beat that, right? So many people ask me all the time, like, how do you decide where you're going? How do you make all these plans? And I very jokingly say, I ask my travel agent, because Rick is pretty much my personal travel agent. And so I just thought we would give him an opportunity to just kind of talk us through maybe where he starts or how he might go about planning one of these trips. It does take him a whole lot of time and a whole lot of research, and I'm very grateful that he does that for us as a family. But you know, this is the good stuff, people.
We struggle with this the most. The question is, where do you want to go? And we debate for days, if not weeks sometimes, of like, where do you want to go? And I think that's where do you start. You find out where you want to go. For the last trip specifically, it was Fiji. We decided on Fiji. So then we said, okay, we're going to Fiji. What's the best way to get there? And we find out Fiji Airlines is a partner with American. Okay? So you want to sign up for credit cards. You want to sign up and get points for places where you know you can visit. If you sign up for the United card and want to go to Fiji, that would make no sense because you can't partner. They don't have a partner with Fiji Airlines. So anyways, that was kind of the story with Fiji. The other one was this winter, we're going to go to Europe, and we want to do the Christmas markets. That's a big thing that we want to go check out, and we want to get to Strasbourg, France. Well, what's the closest place to Strasbourg? It's actually Stuttgart, Germany, and that's a great American hub. So if you want to go to Stuttgart, Germany to get to Strasbourg, you would want to sign up for the American credit card because you want to get those American points to get that flight into Stuttgart. That's kind of where you start, and that's how you start to plan it out. Like I said, if you want to stay at a certain hotel, we really wanted to go to the Marriott Fiji. Well, the best place is to start earning those SPG points. And that takes a little bit of planning. This is not as easy as just buy whatever you want because you have all the money. This is a little forward thinking and knowing how to strategically use these points to kind of benefit you the most.
I think it's fair to say that we bookend our planning. We figure out where we're starting and then where we're finishing, and then lots of things kind of fall into place in the middle. Like, who flies from Morocco to Stansted, England, right, which is near London? Well, that's just what Rick figured out was the best flight deal for us, and so that sort of the pieces fell into place for us to go from Morocco up to England this summer. And just by searching around and looking for those deals and trying to make it happen, that's how we start. We also wanted to talk about some of our top travel tips. Say that 5 times fast. The first one that I want to talk about is Airbnb. We love using Airbnb. If you haven't heard of it before, Airbnb is a social network for vacation rentals. It is a site and an app on your phone where you can go in and you can check out listings. People connect on there. You get a rating. They have a rating. We've used it all over the world. So many different places. This summer's trip, we joke, was brought to you by Airbnb. We stayed in a hotel one time in 6 weeks for 2 nights, 3 nights?
3 nights.
3 nights, that's it, in 6 weeks. The rest was Airbnb. You can choose your preferences when you're searching on Airbnb. You can look for cost, you can look by location, you can look if you want an entire place to yourself, if you just want to rent a room, if you want to stay on a boat. Something new that Airbnb is doing, they're offering Airbnb experiences. We have not participated in an Airbnb experience. We have friends who run the experiences. We also have had friends who've participated. They say it's great. If you're interested in Airbnb and you've never taken a trip, send us an email. We can send you a coupon code that'll get you some money off your trip. Would love to send that off to you to encourage you to use that.
And this is the reason why we really push Airbnb, because it's not just you stay at a hotel, you're doing your own thing. We should just start making a slide when we do this again of just all of our friends that we've made from Airbnb. I cannot tell you everywhere around the world that we have made friends that we still keep in touch with, that we're going to go back and visit again, and they just want us to come and hang out. We may not even pay for their Airbnb this time just because we are now lifelong friends. And that's just such a unique experience. And I feel like that's what makes travel that much more fun. It's just meeting real people around the world, staying with them at their place. And they give you such a more in-depth connection to the culture and where you are visiting.
Yeah, you definitely feel like you're a local when you stay at an Airbnb. One of the things that I tell people a lot is to use Google Flights to do your search. You may be familiar with Priceline or Kayak or Expedia. Google Flights is all of that wrapped into one. It is really great because it offers you the chance to see the price of your particular trip that you're looking at on a specific date, but then also the prices on days, if your plans are flexible, if you can leave a day earlier or a day later, how the difference in price might be. You can set alerts to search for a flight and see if this is really going to be the lowest cost. You can search by nonstop flights, flights with stops, times that you want to go, an airline that you prefer to take. So that is generally where we start when we're searching for flights. We use Google Flights. Just as a sort of disclaimer, Southwest does not come up when you are searching on Google Flights, and so it's always worth checking their website as well if you're doing something domestically. Another tip that we always tell people is to search using an incognito window on your browser. Airline companies track your search history. They know what you've been looking for, and they will inflate the prices of the flights that you're seeing to get you to pay more money because they know you want to go there. Rick and I once sat side by side and searched for the same flight once on an incognito window. I was using incognito and Rick was using just normal, and his flights were more expensive than mine because that airline realized that he wanted those flights and could get him to pay more money. So I just wanted to take a second to show you how to make an incognito window. Here in my Chrome, I can search new incognito window here when I open it up, or if you're going to File, you can do new incognito window. If you're a Mac user, that's Shift Command and N. That's how you make an incognito window. And it basically hides your browser history from the airlines so they're not gouging you on those flight prices. Our last tip that we always give, I was just talking to someone at work about this today, is that we book early. When you're booking with points, you have to be on top of your game. You have to be super punctual. Airlines only offer a certain number of seats to be booked with award travel, right? Like by buying points. Flight reservations usually open up about 11 months in advance, 330 days. And so you want to just really be on it. If you know I'm taking this trip and I need to leave this day and I'm going to book it with points, you need to know exactly when that window is, that those flights are going to open up and you can book them. We always say travel's only expensive when it's convenient for you. If you are able to be more flexible, you'll save more money. All right, it's the moment you've all been waiting for. Sam is going to help facilitate asking some of your questions, and we'll do our best to make sure that we give you the answers you're looking for.
No promises.
This question goes back to the discussion you had about the Southwest card and the companion capabilities. So is the companion pass that you receive for just one flight or for how long of a period of time?
It will last. So the best way I can say it, it'll last for a year, per se. So if you earned it right now, so today is the early October, you will have it for the rest of 2017, but then also all of 2018. So whatever year you're in, you'll finish your year with it, but then it kicks in officially the next year. So the little tip is if you earn the companion pass in February, you will basically have it for 22 months. And that's how we worked it out. So we've had, well, long story short, we've had the companion pass for a while because we keep working it out where we're earning it for 2 years at a time, basically.
And it's for every flight we take. So Houston, Portland, New York, every single time. Mexico. Rick flies free.
One of the things that you guys didn't really talk about is how you are accruing points just at an everyday level. Like, I know that some of your bills, for example, you pay with a credit card, but then you're just paying it off every month. Can you give a couple of other hints maybe about that?
I mean, in terms of...
So our everyday spending card is the Venture card because you get 2 points per dollar. So if I'm going to the grocery store, I use the Venture card. If I'm buying gas, I use the Venture card. There are certain cards that run promotions at different times of the year. You may have heard of the Chase Freedom card. There are certain quarters where they offer 5 points per dollar at restaurants or gas stations and that kind of thing. And so we will be strategic. If it's 5 points per dollar at gas, we're going to use a Freedom card to pay for our gas.
I just think it changes in terms of sometimes it's, you know, we gotta earn a sign-up bonus for one card. So we're going to put a lot of spend on 1 or 2 months on this one card to get that sign-up bonus. Or it changes, like I said, based on, I know at restaurants this card gets 3 points per dollar. I know at Staples or whatever it is, I'm getting 5 points per dollar. So to make an easy answer difficult, it changes frequently.
Yeah, it's one of those things, again, that Rick was saying he tracks it and spends a lot of time making sure that we're using the right cards for the right things. Certain cards, it helps to pay our internet with. That kind of answers the bills question. So we're just always paying attention to that.
Mm-hmm. What about shopping portals?
Shopping portals are great. Yeah, I mean, we could talk about that because to incentivize you to shop at websites, you can go to like a United shopping portal. I mean, British Airways has one. Anytime I make a purchase, I mean, recently, I'll say this, we made a West Elm purchase, and I went to British Airways website for their shopping portal, and it said, if you buy anything from West Elm, we'll give you 6 miles per dollar. So I just literally clicked the button, shop at West Elm. After logging into my British Airways account, I purchased whatever I did, and it tracks it, and then a bunch of miles just showed up my British Airways account. So that's another easy way. And you can do that with Southwest, United, American, hotels, any of these things or these companies we brought up, you can do shopping portals.
Yeah. So you're going to go to their website and log into your account that you own, that you have for American or United Airlines, but then also use that credit card, and you'll get the points because you just made the purchase with the credit card as well. So you're sort of doubling up on the points just by doing it through the portal.
Double dipping. Yeah.
Yeah. Can you, in addition to Capital One and Southwest, can you let the group know what are maybe your 3 favorite consistent cards that you're not going to ever get rid of, or at least today? Which ones are the ones?
Oh man.
You put them on the spot, guys.
Venture, because obviously we get the 2 points per dollar and I can redeem all the travel, and they waive the annual fee every year, which is huge. We had another card like the Venture card, but they wouldn't waive the annual fee anymore, so we got rid of it.
But not the Venture. I'm going to push you on that.
Not the Venture? There's this random card that we use. It's called an Amex Blue, and it earns 6% cash back at grocery stores for the first $6,000 per year. And I think that's one that we really like because it's a 6% cashback card, and we found a lot of really unique ways to make that card valuable. The Amex Blue. What other cards do we use frequently? The Ink card. I really like the Ink card. It's a Chase business card that we received, but I've told a lot of family and different people to get this Chase Ink card because it earns 5 points per dollar in so many categories. Like we pay our internet, Netflix, our cell phone bill with this Ink card because it earns 5 points per dollar. And you start, assembling all these bills every month, and it's a pretty substantial points increase. And you don't even really think about it because it's on auto pay. So it just we just earn a couple thousand points per month just on those bills.
Can you share with the group how you're keeping track of, like maybe how you keep track of your cards, or like, something along those lines?
I can explain it. It sounds easier than it really is, but I have spreadsheets for everything, and I know that's not for everybody, but I can be a little bit of a micromanager and hyper organizer. So I have spreadsheets for everything that we do financially, and I keep track of the credit cards, and I kind of have an idea of like when we opened it, when the annual fee should be showing up, so I can always tell when things are coming up and what bills need to be paid, when the annual fee is coming up, when we need to call the credit card, and it's been a lot of trial and error over the past 5 years, but I've kind of worked out a system where, our budgets has a spreadsheet, every credit card has a spreadsheet, our goals have a spreadsheet. So.
When we bought our house and Rick nailed down a budget for us because I was an overspender, we decided to make a Google spreadsheet, and that's been, the best thing because we both have access to it anytime, anywhere. We can be traveling and see where we're at because we can access that stuff via the internet. So we definitely rely a lot on Google Sheets to make those spreadsheets happen.
It's not easy. I don't mean it. It's a lot of work, but we feel like it's worth it and it's valuable with all the experience we've been able to gain.
One of the attendees says it'd be awesome if you could share a template or an example sometime of the spreadsheets. Maybe could they reach out to you directly? Maybe.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, we're going to put up our email here in a second. I guess you don't need to look at my questions slide. So this is an email where you can contact us, and if you have questions about a template or something you want more information about, you can contact us there.
Yeah, it's so hard to, this whole world is so big, we can't get into specifics, but if you have specific questions, we're always willing to help and, share the wealth in any way. So we just tried to give a very broad overview, and contact us anytime.
One question is from Katie. She wants to know, how do you choose who watches your dog while you travel so frequently?
Oh, Katie, that's such a good question. Man, people ask us that all the time, and we've been super, super lucky and very blessed to have amazing people in our lives who help watch Rigby, because he's a rock star. We have some former students of Rick's who come and stay. We had a friend, she has a studio apartment in the city and just wants to get out of LA, and so she's come to stay. And so we just have some really great connections and resources that we can rely on when we go on these extended trips.
She sends her love. Any other questions, guys? Any other thoughts? I think the biggest thing for me, because Emily and Rick have gotten me started on this a little bit, not to the level that they do, is just sort of always thinking about what you could put on the credit card and what bill or whatever you can pay with the credit card, knowing full well that you have the money in your wallet or your checking account to pay for that bill. So you're not holding a credit balance at all. And that's one of the things. So.
Yeah, we always use credit cards. I very rarely use cash, but we pay the credit cards off. That's just sort of the life that we live, and it's been good practice for us.
Mm-hmm. Joanna would like to know, if you were to give one place to start, what would you choose? Like if you wanted to, someone just wanting to start dipping their toe into this, what would you suggest?
Man, I mean, for us, it was even, we just had a United credit card, and we would book trips to Chicago to go home, or like trips to New York, and that's how we got our feet wet with this. And we just, through regular spend, had a couple points like, oh, we got to go home. We're going to go to Chicago for Thanksgiving, and we just booked a flight to Chicago, and we kind of figured it out. And then I think as every experience, you get a little more comfortable, and you just keep going, and then you realize, oh, I have enough points for Europe now. I have enough points for Asia now. Like, I can make this happen pretty easily.
Yeah, a lot of people ask me all the time, like, which credit card do I start with? And if the Venture card makes sense to you, if the whole like concept of reimbursing yourself doesn't scare you, I always say that that's a great place for people to start, because you're not limited, right? You can book a flight on any airline, you can book any hotel, you can book any car rental. You're not pigeonholed to specific brand loyalty, but you're still able to utilize those points with the sign-up bonus. So I always think that that's a great place to start.
Mm-hmm. I know this past summer, I'm sorry, this is their webinar, I'm going to chime in anyway. I received the offer for the Delta credit card it was a 60,000 mile sign-on bonus, and we have relatives in Atlanta, and we were going for Grandma's birthday, her 80th birthday, and my niece was graduating college coming in December. So I knew for sure there were 2 trips that I was going to want to make to the Atlanta area. It made perfect sense to sign up for that card, because the spending minimums were easy to meet, and then I was easily able to book those 2 airplane tickets and a third one actually with the money, with the points that I was able to get.
Yeah, because it was only like $1,000 you had to spend for that card, I think.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a good bargain from what they asked out of me to be able to get that big benefit from them. Megan would like to know if husband and wives can you both sign up for a card separately to get more points?
Yes, we have completely separate accounts between Emily and myself to maximize. Like I said, we're going to travel together, so we tend to actually sign up for the same cards at the same time together to get the same points to do what we want to do.
Megan, that's such a great question. Thank you. We would not have said that if you hadn't asked, but that's definitely part of the strategy.
Yeah. Do you guys know anything about AAA or Verizon? The question that Nancy asked is, when AAA or Verizon gives you points and rewards to buy stuff, is there a way to use these points for travel?
You never heard of AAA points.
Yeah, that's not something I'm familiar with. We're AAA people. Thank goodness for them sometimes, like when you're driving and you run out of gas in the middle of the road. But I didn't know.
Like 2 weeks ago.
No one needs to know. I don't necessarily know that I know anything about AAA points, and we're T-Mobile customers, so Verizon points aren't something that we have in our scope.
Yeah, I've never really used Verizon, yeah.
Well, and I think, Nancy, if you follow the small print related to their points programs, you'll probably find some of the answers to that. They'll give you some ideas on what what you can and cannot do with it. And you can probably always call somebody, especially with AAA, to ask the questions about what can I use these points for. I know the Freedom Card allows you to pay off other things on your bills more than just travel. So maybe the Freedom Card is one that you would want to get so that you can write off some of your bills. Let's see. Can you, if you don't have enough points for a trip, can you use points plus put the rest of the costs on a credit card?
Not for airline flights, or for airline flights, no. Like, for example, if you're going to do a round trip on United, it's going to be 25,000 points in the domestic United States. So you can't choose to do on United, like, I have 15, but then let me pay for the other 10,000. No, but here's the little trick you can do. You can book one-ways with your points, and then wait to book your other one-way home. So we've done this before. Like, when we go on a 6-week trip, we'll book our one-way to our location, and then we know we're not coming home for 6 weeks after, so we may not book our trip home until 2 months after. So you can split up the legs of your journey if you don't have the full amount on you at that one point.
Yeah, I think that's another tip we'd share, is that we're big one-way people. You don't need to start and end in the same location. It's generally not our MO to start somewhere and end somewhere. This summer we started by flying to Greece, and we came home from Copenhagen, Denmark. Next summer we only have the bookends, and we are not starting and ending in the same place.
Katie P. is adding to the conversation. She says on Delta you can use a combination of points and cash, and I think I've done that as well. So apply 5,000 points as well as pay money.
Awesome.
Yeah, I know with hotels. With hotels, you can do that sometimes. They're a little more lenient with using points and cash, and they have programs set up from that. But then the Venture Card is also one where, you know, you want to purchase a $500 flight with your points, and say you only have $400 of the points. Well, then you use your $400 towards the flight, and you spend $100 for that $500 flight. So that's one you can do too.
Do points on airline cards typically expire within a set period of time? Megan is worried about that prior to being able to cash them in.
Yeah, but as long as you have some activity on your account, you reset the expiration date by that 18 months. So, I mean, if you really want to be risky with it, you could get the points, not do anything for a year and a half, earn a point, and it resets that calendar every time.
Okay. Here's a question from Katie K. Usually what she has found when she has booked airfare, just paying regular, like with her own money, it's usually not cost effective to do single legs flights, but it's most cost effective to do round trip. Do you know, is that different when you do with points, would you say?
No, because every Delta, American, United, they all have a set rate for points that doesn't change. So it's always going to be 12,500 one-way domestic, so then 25,000 round trip. And the same thing with Europe, Asia, Africa, South America, wherever you want to go. So points don't change based on one-way or round trip. But I do agree, it typically is cheaper to book with cash round trip, but then every now and then you find these little loopholes, these little gems of one-way trips that you can find with cash.
And Katie would know. She's booking a lot that people are paying with dollars.
Yeah.
Yep. Amanda Z would like to know, what's the worst travel mistake you've made, or easy mistakes to avoid?
Ooh, gosh. I mean, we've made a lot of mistakes.
Yeah.
I mean, simple mistakes, obviously. You have everything tracked, but one slips through, and you forget to pay the annual fee, or you forget to pay a bill, and they charge you a big fee. But then we call and say, we're so sorry, we didn't mean to do that, and they usually waive it anyways. So that's a mistake, but we usually get that fixed.
Here's one.
Every time. Yeah.
Rick will come back with another, but I have one. We had a boarding pass where my name My name was Emily Phillip Barclay, and I'm sure you can all assume that my middle name is not Phillip. So we ended up having to call that airline and pay a fee to get that changed and updated before we were traveling. We were lucky enough that it was only $60 to go ahead and get that changed, but that was kind of a big mistake when your name is not correct on your boarding pass. It doesn't match your passport. What do you got?
What do I got? Not gonna throw any names out there.
It's okay.
Just, someone in my life told me a wrong weekend.
That did happen.
That Labor Day was. So we booked a trip to New York for a weekend, and then we came back a couple weeks later and went, Labor Day's not that weekend.
Yeah.
And we had to go back and it's so expensive to cancel sometimes. We didn't even cancel a trip. We just left it and booked a whole nother one because it would have actually cost us more money to cancel it.
Yeah.
So we ended up just booking a whole other weekend. So we actually had flights for 2 weekends, but only went to one of them.
Yeah.
Hey, so Rick, here's a question from Katie. Do you have any hints on the best way to stay stern with the customer service people when you feel like there's an injustice related to a fee or a crummy situation?
I'm good. That's an Emily expertise right there. Trust me.
Right. I was going to say, Rick asks Emily to handle the call.
Yeah.
No, I mean, the best advice that I can say is be really direct and then just be very clear about what you want. We always want to be nice to people in customer service, but sometimes you just need to be really clear about what's gone wrong and have a very clear idea of what the solution would be or what you're looking for from that customer service agent. Hi, Rigby. It always helps to ask for a supervisor. You never know what that person might be able to offer to you, and I feel like you can never go wrong with that. If the customer service agent is not getting you where you want to be or the answer or the solution that you want, ask for a supervisor. You can ask for the supervisor. I would say it's very rare that I am not able to get a resolution that I am looking for. Maybe only 1 or 2 instances that come to the top of my brain where even when speaking with a supervisor, I haven't been able to get what I wanted.
Okay. Any other questions, you guys? My final comment that I have here from Katie is, she says, come to Louisville and stay at her Airbnb.
For sure. Especially at Halloween.
Yeah.
It's a great time to go visit Katie in Louisville at Halloween.
Yeah. So if there's no more questions.
Your question about our biggest travel snafu.
Say it again.
I said I hope I answered Amanda's question about our biggest travel snafu.
Yep. Amanda Z says you're always welcome here in Indy as well. So if you guys don't have any more questions tonight, we'll go ahead and close the webinar, but please feel free to email to Emily and Rick. Their email's up here, and they'll totally be able to help you get started if you need some more personal hints that they haven't been able to get to. Talk to them. They can pick your brain, and you guys can pick each other's brains, and they can help you get started on this whole thing.
Yeah. If you want that Airbnb credit, if you want money off on your first Airbnb trip, send me an email. Shout out to Lauren and Megan, who are already following me on Instagram. You guys are following the directions, playing along at home. Our blog hasn't been updated in a little while, but we have had some really great trips that have been outlined and detailed there. Our website is below. So if you have any questions, send an email. Instagram is a great way to keep in touch.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate you joining us tonight. Good night. Oh, this webinar is also going to be recorded. So in a couple of weeks, Emily will put the link out on her social media in case you missed any of it or want to share with friends. Good night.